Alright guys, so we are back again and I'm getting ready to go to the gym right now, but I'm actually switching things up. You guys have been seeing in these videos me use this brand you guys have been seeing me use this pre-workout, but today I'm actually just gonna go with some coffee, which is actually something I used to do for the majority of my prep in 2023. I was really just having coffee as my pre-workout for the most part. However, towards the end, I did start having more energy drinks. But for a lot of 2023, I'll put it that way, for a lot of 2023, I actually just had coffee. But today, I'm just going to hit push. And I felt like, I don't really need to take an actual pre-workout just to hit push. I feel like I've probably been going a little overboard with taking pre before every session, and I just want to experiment today with going back to just having some coffee. I typically already have coffee in the morning as is. I'll typically have a morning shake, and then I'll have some coffee before I have my and then I'll have a period of time before I end up having that pre-workout meal. But yeah, so I'm just about to have this in place of the pre, and I'll just be driving to the gym. I got a long drive to the gym. It's like 45 minutes. And so I'll just be sipping on this while I get there. And that'll be my pre for today. But push day today. Let's see what happens. Oh, you already know. You already know what we're rocking here. Custom shirt. So let's see how the session goes. Samson. This guy's just chilling out. Hey, no. Say hey. So guys, going into today's push A session, I actually had to start with the ab crunch. I typically do, 3 working sets of this movement, and typically like one set of 8 to 10, two sets of 11 to 15 reps. And I normally do it at the end of the workout, but I wasn't able to do my normal movements first. So I just went ahead and did these. And I was actually a little fatigued because normally before my sessions, I'll actually do like 3 sets of abs, but not hard, just pretty much 3 lighter sets of abs before going into my movements. And so sometimes I'll do this actually, and then I'll still finish off with it, at the end of my workout, but actually do the real working sets. But today I actually needed to go ahead and do it because the other machines were taken and cable stations were taken. So that's what I had to do today. But yeah, so 3 working sets there to start things off, and then, went into the single arm cuffed lateral raise, as you can see here. And I typically do 3 working sets of this. And so, yeah, these are feeling really good today. And I want to say I might have been down like a rep or so from the previous session. I consider myself I was down half a rep. But as you can see with these, I'm really trying to get good range of motion. Trying to come up very, very high. And you can see like where my arm actually finishes, is very, very high. So yeah, I'm not using a lot of weight on these, but I typically always start this push A session with these. Of course today I had to do them second, but yeah, they just feel really good. But overall, I was able to pretty much retain performance on these compared to the previous rotation. Yeah, pretty much virtually the same reps. And again, there's so many little nuances that could change whether you get an extra rep or not with a movement like this. If you rested a little bit longer before a set compared to the last session, or if you rested less time, or, if your form was a little different. There's just a lot of nuances. But I still try to even track my isolation movements. But I recognize that there may be small variations, session to session, and of course progression is not going to be the same on these movements either. So that's another thing to also keep in mind. but essentially just try to, if I can, match performance. But yeah, these are feeling really solid today, which, yeah, I mean, they always usually do. So next up, the flat press of the day, which is Smith flat bench, which is what I've been running for over a month now since I've been at this gym. And yeah, this is the top set. So actually, I believe I actually retained performance from last rotation, which was nice. So yeah, I was able to match reps there. So that was really good. And yeah, I got second set here with 275, which same thing as well. I was able to match reps again here, which is really good. And yeah, one thing I actually recently started doing is for my workouts, like you can't tell it here, but I switched up my music. I was listening to a lot of hip hop, which is usually what I would listen to when I work out. But I actually recently switched up to, like, during my isolation moments, I've been listening to instrumental music. And even like today, what I did was for my warm-up sets, I was listening to instrumental, and only for my working sets on these compound movements, the one you see here, the Smith flat press, and what you'll see next to Smith high incline. Those are the only two movements for those working sets today. I did listen to like music that's gonna elicit a higher level of arousal. But even for the warm-up sets on these compound movements today, and then for the remainder of the workout, I was just listening to instrumental music, and I felt like sometimes I actually get more distracted, listening to, like really listening to music that, really elicits a high level of arousal. And so, yeah, it's like instrumentals for me, allow me to really be composed. And so, yeah, that's one thing I've actually recently been doing. And this is very, very recent. But yeah, just something I'm experimenting with. I feel like sometimes I getting a little too carried away with trying to find the perfect song and trying to just, get too carried away. And really, the fact of the matter is, for these sets, I really just need to be present, But I think saving that for the working sets, for some of the more challenging movements, is okay. But yeah, so that's something I've been switching up recently. But you just saw there the top set of the Smith high incline, and I was actually down a rep, which a little disappointing, although not too surprising, considering the strength, or considering getting leaner. But and that last rep was was definitely a little bit ugly there as well. But and then we got the back off set of the high incline today, which I want to say I progressed, no. Actually, I believe I was down one rep. I was down one rep from last session on this as well. But again, just taking what I can, and that's it. Pressing is not impressive at all, especially right now, given the fact that I am, gradually getting leaner here. So yeah, overall though, not mad at all with those sets. Did what I could do there. So that's I guess you could say 2 of my 3 compound movements of this day. So yeah, I actually had to do what you'll see coming up. I actually normally would do dips after these, but I had to do them later in the session, unfortunately. So I went ahead and went to these cuffed laterals again. But as you can see here, the cable pulley is actually raised up more to my hip level. So the cable is actually at a higher height. And so at this height, challenging more of the lengthened range of the delts. So yeah, doing these though, these cuff laterals, and doing them, like doing I guess you could say 2 cuff lateral movements in the session, so a total of 6 sets. It feels really good, man. Like, this is such a good movement. And yeah, I'm starting to enjoy these more as I've been doing them since I started this newer routine. But again, here 3 working sets in the 10 to 20 rep range actually, which is the same I did for the low cable height as well. But again, here just trying to really, come up pretty much as high as I can. And so as you can see on the stack, I'm not using a lot of weight at all. Definitely not hard, or definitely not easy, to do them right. But I'm really just focusing on like making sure I'm actually connecting with my side delts and making sure I'm feeling them throughout each rep. And obviously I try to keep the reps pretty standardized, and then towards the end, as I'm reaching failure, I'll get to a point where I can't complete what I consider a full rep, and then, I'll do maybe a couple partials that you saw there. But yeah, so those were, again, feeling solid. And you guys saw this last time as well if you watched the previous session where I filmed my push A session, the easy bar tricep extensions. So again, 3 working sets here, and 1 set of 8 to 10, 2 sets of 11 to 15. And I'm looking back on this video, it looked like I might could have done some more reps, but one thing I've really been consciously trying to do on these is be a bit more strict and not start to involve too much shoulder and chest, because I notice sometimes when I get too carried away, I can start to let that form diminish just for the sake of getting an extra rep. So I tried to be a bit more locked in there. But yeah, and then here, the second tricep movement I did today, the second isolation movement as well. Overhead tricep extension, and same rep range here as on the easy curl bar tricep extensions. So again, yeah, nothing too special about these. I really like these. On my other push session, I'll do the dual rope, and then for this session I do a unilateral variation. And then if you guys looked at the push B session I filmed, you see that for the tricep extension variation on that session, I'll usually do a single arm variation. So I just kind of swap them out, or each session I'm doing some unilateral variation and some bilateral variation. And I typically stick with the same actual movement. So I've been running this rope tricep extension for a minute now. If I can stick with that easier curl bar, I try to stick with it. Sometimes it's taken, I might have to use a different bar, but I try to, I try to keep things very, much the same session to session. I don't have a ton of variation, but granted, I do have 2 different push sessions. I'm doing 2 different pull sessions, 2 different leg sessions, so there still is certainly some variation overall. And then here's the dips, which I actually finished off with them today because I wasn't able to get on them earlier. What had actually happened was I was waiting to get the belt to use so I could do weighted dips, but it was nowhere to be found. And so I decided, I'm going to go ahead and do my isolations and fatigue the triceps, and then I'll come here and just do my 2 working sets of dips. But what I decided to do is this was the first working set. I only filmed the first one, but I just wanted to make it pretty much, I wanted to be very controlled, pause some in the stretch and at the top, and yeah, just make the reps really hard because I didn't have the belt so I could do weighted this day. But 2 working sets there, and I didn't really have a set rep range. I just did 2 sets to failure and tried to make the sets hard by being more strict and get a really good stretch. It's definitely harder when you actually use good range of motion on these, but so yeah, overall a great session. So we made it back from the gym. I actually had to go by the store and pick up a few things. So we just got some tomatoes, some mushrooms, peppers, and got some spinach, baby spinach. I've been eating spinach a lot now during this diet, and I've been enjoying having some peppers, tomatoes, and mushrooms as well, and just mixing all that together. And then also we got some 97.3 ground turkey. Yeah, for protein right now, I've been eating chicken and ground turkey, some ground beef, not a lot occasionally, though I have been, like yesterday I had some, and then whey protein. So this is what we're having for this post-workout meal. Oats, strawberries with Splenda cinnamon, and I'm going to actually add a little bit of pink salt. And then we got here spinach, peppers, we got some squash and zucchini, we got tomatoes, we got some mushrooms, and there is ground beef in there too. 93.7, I believe. Or 97.3. One or the other. I'll have to look back at it. But yeah, so amazing. And of course I got some sauce on here as well. I got the Boom, which, yeah, as you can see, I need to get some more, but goated sauce right here. That's gonna be the end of this video, guys. I'm just sitting out here. Yeah, my hair's messed up. It is what it is, but just sitting outside. I'm about to edit this video and get it out to you guys, but just taking you guys through another session today.